sports. Sports were really part of her very being. You know, we went to sporting events as often as we could. We went to all the Cal football games for years before she went with her family. We did what you did at Cal football games in those days. You drank wine out of Bota bags. We did card tricks and fling them all at the end of the halftime show. You helped launch water balloons. But we really enjoyed it when the Cal band would come out with Robert leading the band as the drum major. It was really good. We went to Stanford for big games, but we went beyond football. We went to basketball. I probably would have stopped there, but I had Marianne as a roommate. So she taught me the joys of gymnastics. She taught me the triumphs of track and field, the subtleties of soccer, and the rigors of rugby. We went to everything. And it's probably because of her that I've become a really avid sports fan, and especially an Olympics fan throughout my life. You know, Marianne was really good at sports too, and she tried everything. She turned out to be really good at fencing. And we had so much gear in our apartment. Her epee, her foil, her protective gear. You didn't know what you were coming into when you would walk into our living room. Well, our very last football game together was, of course, a Cal game. It was a bowl game, and Eric was there. And of course, Cal won. They came to San Diego for the Holiday Bowl. The other part of her sports being was that she was a constant but quiet crusader for sports equality. Title IX was enacted while we were undergraduates and living together, and she was really motivated to put Title IX into action on a daily basis. She wanted it in the real world with real boys and girls benefiting from it. She certainly approached sports academically at Cal. It was a tough major, and believe it or not, it was different for men and women in those days. Men could get their credits for things like weight training, and the women had to do classes like physiology, kinesiology, in competition with a lot of those really diehard pre-med people at Berkeley. I remember one class in particular, it was sociology of sport, taught by Harry Edwards. And Harry Edwards, for those of you who aren't in the know, was the organizer of the Black Power salutes of the athletes at the 1968 Olympics in Mexico City. So we were all learning about equality on a real academic basis. And she became a really strong voice for reform and equal treatment in sports. One of her pet peeves at Berkeley was about the unequal facilities for men and women. You know, the men had changing facilities and locker rooms in the men's gym and in the women's gym. So if they had classes in the women's gym, they could take care of all their needs. Did the women have changing facilities in the men's gym? No. Well, that changed, and while it was probably Title IX that had the most impact, I am sure and will remain forever convinced that it was Marianne's advocacy that really made the difference. Last but not least, I think that Marianne's legacy is how she saw the potential in people. She was an equal opportunity teacher, mother, and coach. She encouraged fair play and teamwork in her family and in the students that she taught and in the students that she coached. She also fostered individual excellence because she could see the spark in someone and know what they needed to develop their full potential. Well, you know, Jeff asked me, does it matter that today is the Day of the Dead? Dia de los Muertos. And I said, no, you've tapped into Mexican culture. Maybe you didn't realize that. Mexican culture sets aside one day every year to remember our loved ones who are no longer with us. And they put out garlands of flowers. They talk, they eat, they drink. So I think that today is the perfect day for us to remember Marianne. And I think that every one of you now, next year on Dia de los Muertos, November 1st, will have a special memory of Marianne to hold in your hearts.
My mom and I were best friends, something she made clear that would not happen until I was an adult. Jeanette, she said, I am a mother first and a friend next. I could be up here for days thinking about all of the memories of my favorite lady, but I thought I would share a few stories that really defined Mary Ann. First off is a totally incomplete list of my mother. She was a lifeguard, swim instructor, teacher, coach, avid reader, synchronized swimmer, painter, dark chocolate consumer, French language attempter, sassy housewife, baker, volunteer extraordinaire, voted most athletic in high school, Cal grad, Cal sports fanatic, president of the local alumni group, hostess with the mostest, the most fabulous witch at Halloween, teen mom, room mom, grandma, Auntie Mimi, and as Eric and I called her as a toddler, the best mommy in the world of London. And my Aunt Eileen touched on this really briefly, but as the nursery rhyme goes, Mary, quite contrary. She wore red in her wedding dress when red was not done in those days. And she claimed that since she was part Russian, she could sew in a little bit. And another instance of this is my mother sported her Cal beads and her Beat Stanford shirt anytime she was at Stanford Hospital, just to let them know she was a Cal fan. She wanted to push people to their full potential by showing them how to do the work themselves. She completely prepared me for motherhood with this next story. When I went into labor with Patrick, he was 2 weeks early. She rushed over to my apartment with my dad to build a crib and changing table. But she told me that when we came home, she was not there to do my laundry, my dishes, or any shopping. I was a little bummed because a lot of my friends' mothers came over and did everything. But she was there to teach me how to rock him to sleep, how to bathe him, and how to take us out for walks, and so that she could enjoy being a grandmother. And this helped me tremendously when I had Alice. I checked myself out of the hospital early and went home that morning and cooked French toast while I was nursing Alice. She wanted me to enjoy motherhood with all of its crazy moments and not expect her to be the maid. And this makes for a great attitude and expectations I have of my own children. Mary Ann was a true kid at heart. At our last Disneyland vacation, Alice and Patrick wanted to go on the teacups over and over with James and my father. Mom and I bailed. We had delicate tummies that didn't enjoy that ride, and we had the entire park to ourselves. We could have picked any ride, but we ran over to the carousel and giggled and waved at everyone and shouted woohoo as it went around and around. This lady was always ready for an adventure, taking Eric and I camping as infants. Going back every year, although there were horror stories from the previous year, from when Eric had to get stitches in a finger, or when we had to locate the nearest ER when we thought I broke a bone in my foot. When she was about to go to the hospital for the first time, we sort of snuck in a last-minute trip to Pinecrest for the week with my dad and Alice and Patrick. Her doctors told her, well, we're not exactly saying no, but we don't want you to be around dirt. She, of course, took this as a heck yes. She was about making memories as we went for walks every day, learned about nature, and then painted while enjoying a wine and cheese plate. And she also planted the travel bug in us at a very young age. I was 12 and Eric was 10, and Mom and Dad were thinking about taking a trip to Europe for the Olympics in Barcelona. We were there for 5 weeks, and then when we were older, she sent us on our own. This summer, I took Patrick and Alice to France and England. Not once did she say, oh heavens, that's too young, they won't remember a thing. She knew that it would plant seeds in them, and they would be more aware of a larger world. After our trip, I took Alice to go visit my mom at the hospital. There was a large picture of the Mona Lisa near the front door, and Alice was as pleased as punch when she remembered seeing that at the Louvre, and told my mom immediately when we walked in. My mom winked at me and said, see, she gets it. One of her favorite sayings was about character. My mother defined character as what you do when nobody is watching. She taught this to me at the end of high school, and I'm always reminded of me in college. I think this truly defined my mother, as most of the wonderful stories I've heard from others seem to have a theme of her doing so much while nobody was looking. My mom loved coaching the Irvington High School tennis team. She did this not because she enjoyed the sport, but out of necessity. Eric didn't have a coach one year, and the team couldn't play without one. As an ex-PE teacher, she knew she could get by and help the boys keep playing. She did this for several years after Eric graduated. And I will never forget one day when she was speaking to my grandmother and I about the team. Kids weren't turning their forms in on time, lots weren't going to play because of their grades, and a few preseason matches were probably not going to be taking place because of scheduling problems. My grandmother and I both asked her why she was still doing it. And she said there was nobody going to be there for her boys, and her kindness and thoughtfulness towards others is always a gift that I will treasure. Speaking of the boys and the tennis team, my mother, of course, had to show them who was boss from time to time. One day when the athletic director drove over and shouted at her from his car while she was on the court to come over and speak, she replied back with, "I ain't no hollaback girl." My mother, a feminist who wants you to treat her as a real person. She once told me that her biggest fear was dying while her children were young. She said that she always wanted us to have memories together. Not only is her fear something that didn't happen, but as you know, her kind and giving spirit lives on with my family and all of you. When you see a rainbow, think of my colorful mom. When you're at a Cal game, shout, "Go Bears." When you see some chocolate, do what Mary Ann would do. Eat it all at once. I wanted to end with a sunny memory because my dad always called her his sunshine. My mom believed in God. She knew his teachings would bring her peace and understandings in her toughest times. She joined Pinterest several years ago, and while she didn't have many things pinned, she loved finding new holiday ideas and commenting on what I had found. This is a quote from her inspirational board, and it is a quote from C.S. Lewis. He says, "I believe in Christ like I believe in the sun, not because I can see it, but by it I can see everything else." Thank you for letting me share my sunshine with you.
Are sure it's only Go Bears that your mom would yell at the game? Great. Next, we'd like to invite up Eric, Brian, Mary Ann's son.
All right. Thanks everyone for coming. I have lots of thoughts. So this is not like going to all go together. One thing is, don't be sorry. Don't tell me you're sorry, because I spent a third of a century with the greatest woman I know is my mom. So I consider myself a very lucky person. Halloween was yesterday, and there's so many memories of my mom on Halloween. Just last year, Marcus took his first steps last Halloween as he was walking to my mom in his lion costume. I would go to her house every year for Halloween. Even when I was an adult, I would go there. All the kids from Millard, or all the Irvington kids, they would come up and they would say, "Hi, Mrs. Bryan," and then my mom would say, "I don't know who that was. They had a mask on." But it was always so fun to see how many kids that she knew. A couple nights ago, we watched Big Hero 6 with Marcus. He just started to see a few movies, and we all loved the movie. In fact, Marcus even cried at the end. I don't know how he understood it, but it was after watching that movie, it's like my mom was Baymax, so she was programmed to take amazing care of all of us and to always make sure we were all happy. And so she never stopped doing that. Marina once told me that 20% of the reason I married you was because of your mom. I think that's an understatement. I'm still waiting for the divorce papers. Mom was also like my Google. Every time Marina or someone would ask me a question I didn't know, I said, "Okay, hold on, I just need to ask my mom." Even now with Google, I still ask my mom. While my mom was at Stanford, my dad would drive over there from Fremont every day, and he would give me a call while he was driving, on the Dumbarton Bridge, and he would call it Dumbarton Bridge call, and it would make me feel, comfortable that my father was taking really good care of her, and that, she was still recovering. So it was kind of like a very comforting thing for me. Sorry. In my mom's last days, she wasn't really able to talk. So I told her many times that I loved her, and I could see in her eyes that she loved me back. She would sometimes mouth it to me. The last visit I had, I held her hand for 5 hours and just made sure that she was comfortable. I must have told her 1,000 times that I loved her. And just Thursday night, I had a dream, and I saw her in my dream, and the first thing she said to me was, "I love you, Eric." And then the rest of my dream was like my normal crazy dreams, but I just knew that she was visiting me at that time. Everything I think about reminds me of my mom, whether it's, eating a sandwich and remembering that my mom would always make a sandwich or lunch for me every single day for school, or, sorry, I lost where I was. I don't have all this time to go through them, so I'm just going to go through a few random kind of memories. Some of them, I watched a lot of movies with my mom. One of them was, I went to the movie theaters and watched Something About Mary with my mom. We laughed the whole first 15 minutes of it. And then we got to the point where there was the hair gel scene. My face was quite a bit red, but we were still laughing. Also, my mom and dad saw Harold and Kumar before me. They just had a great sense of humor. I remember them coming home and my mom telling me about the battles that were happening in the bathroom. If anybody remembers that movie. My mom also had her passions. Everyone already talked about this. Taking me to Cal games. Yes, we sat in the end zone and I did catch some PAT footballs and I'd throw them back. But, that's the type of person my mom was, is that my mom would do everything for us. I mean, maybe she did want to sit on the sides, but whatever we wanted to do. So, we would stay until the end of every game. She would yell at people when they walk early. 60 minutes in a football game! We came home late one night. I remember her cooking us the best egg sandwiches at like 11 p.m. at night. All the times that we booed the Stanford and USC bands. And there were a lot of words that I can't say here. The bowl games. So, it was already mentioned, meeting Marshawn Lynch and his mom was a great experience. My mom would always say, go walk up to the players, just go walk up to them, don't be afraid. And, eventually I would, and I got to meet Marshawn Lynch and, chat with him, which was a great experience. I coached tennis for 11 years, and also coached basketball at Miller Elementary with my mom. And it changed my life and the lives of hundreds of people, including a bunch of people here. My mom taught me what it makes to be a great coach. And also, we started the Special Day Kids Clinic. In fact, tennis players can come up. They have a quick announcement to make.
He has a lot of us, so okay. So I think that's everybody. My name is Encore Shingle. I graduated in 2007 from Irvington, and I had the privilege of playing tennis for Coach Bryant and for Eric for all 4 years that I was in high school. There's lots of memories up here. I think each and every one of us could talk about Miss Bryant at length for just hours, but really don't have the kind of time. And one thing I do remember Miss Bryant was her favorite quote to me when I was leaving for UCLA, and she didn't like the fact that I was going to UCLA, was, while you're there, work hard, play hard, but smile harder. So it was always about being very, very excited to be around her and just be alive. That was the main thing. I think a lot of us can agree with that, being on the tennis team. So on behalf of the tennis team and on behalf of Irvington High School, we worked together to create the Mary Ann Bryant Memorial Scholarship Program. And the program is set to last for 5 years at current, and for each of the next 5 years, every single year, we'll be giving $1,000 to a student who embodies the characteristics that Ms. Bryant taught us to embody while we were on the team. And those include confidence, perseverance, and especially being positive no matter what was happening on the court or off of it. And there will be a committee of 5 alumni, I believe, and a few other individuals who will be choosing each student every single year. So if you'd like to donate to this program, to this scholarship, we can keep going past 5 years if that's possible. Let any of us know, especially Eric, we'd be happy to do that. And thank you again for listening. And also, finally, from all of us, thank you, Coach Bryant.
Thanks, guys. Just wanted to add, sorry, Dad, but I told him you'd match it, so. Before I knew how much they were going to raise.
$500,000.
few things to finish up. So I want to talk about some of the things that, how my mother lived her life and all the things that I've incorporated, and maybe you want to incorporate as well. When I started hearing about my mom may want a bone marrow transplant, or may go with a bone marrow transplant, I wrote a bunch of things down. I got a little bit scared. So some of the things are, treat everyone with respect. We're all humans, no matter the race, religion, gender, or preferences. My mom showed that with the tennis team, with everyone she met. Always be positive. I can't even think of a negative experience with her. She was always there to make people more happy. Show when you're proud. Sometimes I'd bring home the craziest artwork from my art class, and she would say, "That's great." I said, "That's terrible. It's ugly." My mom was such a great artist, and she would still, be proud of what I did. Whether it was, complete college or even get a new job, she would always just show how proud she was. Be passionate or hardcore about something. Cal football, for example, tennis and teaching were some of her passions. Never give up. She would always say, "Bryants are never quitters." Keep learning. Always keep reading. We embody that with Marcus. We always buy books. We always read to him. Teach and coach. So being patient was one of her great qualities in helping out others. My mom used to tell me, "Eric, don't get me anything for my birthday or Christmas. Just write me a short story or a poem." So what I did was I wrote a poem for her. It's based on Green Eggs and Ham, since I've been reading that to Marcus. And if you don't know, the weird thing is that Green Eggs and Ham was made with exactly 50 words because Dr. Seuss is not a doctor, I'm not either. He had a bet, and I forgot who it was, but someone was going to give him $50 if he can keep a book 50 words or less. But knowing my mom, there's no way I can keep this under 50 words. So, that son I am, that son I am. I am a happy son I am. I have a mom named Mary Ann. I am the luckiest son I am. I always felt comfy in the house and watched cartoons, Mickey Mouse. So many amazing books to read, that mom of mine, she's great indeed. I will play outside today, any sport my mom will play. Let's go swimming, learn to float, or on the lake out in a boat. What's that amazing smell? I think I just heard the dinner bell. Wow, Mom, this is amazing food. The food puts me in a good mood. Have a Fenton Sunday or two. It's huge, we'll make it through. Would you come to the Cal game? If you don't, it's a shame. You may like them, you will see. You may like them, but not the tree. Say, on the courts, could you win your match on the courts? Yes, coach, I will persevere. You taught me so much, I have no fear. Looks like you like to watch, my treat. You'll need some shoes to match, don't miss a beat. Zipline, would you do a zipline? I know you're fear of heights, but would you give it a try? Grandkids, come here, come and play. Remember the games we played yesterday? We play and play all day. We jump in the pool and have some fun. We never ever want to say we're done. Blood disease, I'll get over it, you'll see. Let's try this and let's try that, chemotherapy and transplant. I am strong, Bryant's never quit. I'll get through this, won't hurt a bit. I like these things that I was taught, caring, sharing, giving a lot. Read to children, show them art, raise them with a Mary Ann heart. Thank you, son I am. I just want to close with hug your mom, dad, child, grandchild, family, or friend. Tell them that you love them because you don't know when it might be your last chance. The world lost a great person, and this person made the world a better place.
I will not cry every time I read Green Eggs and Ham. Thank you, Eric. Last but not least, we want to invite up Mary Ann's husband of 38 years, Jeff.
So I don't know how I'm going to follow the tennis players. I had 5 little known facts about Mary Ann, but I'm going to make it 6 now. She coached tennis for about a dozen years, and when she started, the tennis team barely had enough members to field the team. There was maybe 1 or 2 extras, and by the time she was done, there was a full varsity team, a full JV team, extras, and they finally had to cut a few people because there just wasn't enough court time for everyone to play. And not only did the tennis team become successful on the courts and won the league championship one year, but they always had a great GPA. Kids were going to Cal, Stanford, I think, Harvard, and traveled the farthest to come here today? We'll see how well my voice projects. Okay, if you traveled less than 25 miles, sit down, please. Okay, if you traveled less than 100 miles, sit down, please. Less than 250 miles. Less than 500 miles. Jackie, how come you're still standing? Less than 600 miles. Less than 5,000 miles.
That's a trick question.
So, this gentleman, Andrew, traveled more than 5,000 miles to come to the ceremony today. But what's really unusual is he's never met Mary Ann. That's what I thought. What? Well, he and Eric were talking on the phone a few days ago, and Andrew said, can I come to the ceremony? And Eric said, sure. He said, well, that's good because I just made my reservation to fly from London to San Francisco. And why would he do this? Well, I think it's just a testament to the kind of kids that Mary Ann had and the types of friends that the kids had. Andrew was a co-worker of Eric's at his last job. And just a testament to Mary Ann that one of Eric's friends would come all the way out just to be here when he never met her. So that's my first fact. Thank you for playing my game. So how did Mary and I meet? Well, we went to the same junior high school, Bohannon Junior High, but as far as we can tell, we never were in the same classes or the same core group. But at Arroyo High School, we shared 6th period sophomore English. And I was on the Frosh soft basketball team, and I would have to leave on away games in the afternoon and have to bring my uniform, my tennis shoes to class. And Marian sat right behind me. And so she decided it'd be funny to ride on my tennis shoes. And she always denied riding on them. She always denied it. But she finally got admitted, well, it does sound like something I would do. So how about your first date? Where was our first date? Few people know, but I asked her out. It took a while because remember it was sophomore English when she was riding my shoes. We didn't go on our first date until senior year of college. It was a little slow, a lot shy. So I asked her out to a fraternity dance at a nearby fraternity. I was in a fraternity called Kappa Sigma, but this fraternity is called Chi Psi. And Chi Psi was probably most noted at the time for being home to Jerry Mathers, who played Beaver on Leave It to Beaver. And yes, he still looked just like Beaver in college. So my first date with Marian was Beaver's fraternity. So what was your nickname? What did you call her? Well, people already alluded to that. She always had a sunny disposition. She always seemed happy and cheerful. And there was a current at the time, John Denver song called Sunshine on My Shoulders. So she became Sunshine for our whole life together. What was I always saying to her? This is the last one. So I would ask her, did I tell you I love you today? And Marian would always smile. Shake her head no. Knowing that, I would have to say, well, I love you yesterday, I love you today, and I love you tomorrow. And she would smile back, pleased as much that she got me to say I love you. So Marian, I love you yesterday, I love you today, I love you tomorrow, and I will always love you. Thank you.
So many had great memories and thoughts and just stories about Mary Ann. I know there's so many more that have yet to be shared. As someone who, was really on the periphery of Marianne's life, and I was friends with her kids for a while, and I got to be around her a little bit. It's just great for me to be able to get this peek into her. It's like all these things that I saw about her that I knew to be true are just like way more true than I thought. I knew that she was a great woman, but this has been really special. A few months ago in July, my own mother passed away unexpectedly. These last few weeks of Marianne's life, Jeanette reached out to me and asked for me to share some passages of scripture that she and her mom could read together and just get some comfort and encouragement from. And having just freshly gone through something, I was able to share with Jeanette and Marianne what had been comforting me. And I want to share some of those with you. And I believe these are not just good inspirational words. I believe that they're true and that they're given to us by God Himself. And I believe that today He wants you to hear them and receive hope and comfort from them. He is with those who mourn, and as we laugh, we mourn. And so first I want to share Psalm 46, which reminds us that God is our fortress in difficult times. It says this: God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth gives way, though the mountains be moved into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble at its swelling. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. God will help her when morning dawns. The nations rage, the kingdoms totter. He utters His voice, the earth melts. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Come, behold the works of the Lord, how He's brought desolation on the earth. He makes wars cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the chariots with fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. So in this psalm, we see these pictures of mountains melting and roaring and the seas churning. Life can be so crazy and unexpected at times. Like, why do things happen? But whatever craziness happens here on earth, we can trust that we are not alone and that God is in control ultimately. And the ups and the downs and the things that don't make sense, whatever the answer to the question why is, the answer is not that He does not care. God does in fact care. And He is here to be our refuge and our fortress. In the last couple of weeks of her life, I know that Jeanette and Marianne had some special times together where they experienced that comfort together of God as her refuge. And what's most comforting, I believe, is that the reason that God offers to be our refuge and our comfort, the reason that God is Marianne's comfort and refuge, is not based on her performance, or your performance, or my performance. See, Marianne was a great woman, a better woman than I ever could have been, for sure. Better woman than Nan I could be. Does that sound good? But it's not because of her own goodness that we can now say that she is with God or that she is in a better place. I believe that she is. I believe that she is healed. Her fight is over. She is having a great time. And we are missing out on the fun that she is having right now. I believe that. But I'm not confident in that because I think Marianne earned it. Because she was such a good person. It's because nobody is perfect, as great as Marianne was. She could not stand before God and say, look, God, I earned heaven. You better let me in. See, but instead, God loves Marianne. And He loves each of us so much. And He loves her so much that despite her imperfections, He offered her the grace to be saved, and she received it. And this is the heart of good news. Because the truth is, one day all of us are going to die. People will be gathered, celebrating our life, or in some of our cases, maybe celebrating our death. For most of us, it won't be a room this big. Most of us won't get a scholarship instituted at our memorial service, right? But the truth is, we're all going to reach this point. And all the things that you and I are focused on and stressed out about here and now are going to be in the background. The stuff you're worried about getting done this week, the bills that you don't know if you're going to be able to pay, the promotion that you're trying to get, the house that you need to get or fix up or whatever, all that stuff, it's all going to be in the rearview mirror at some point. All of this is temporary, except you and the people around you. And so that question of, like, what comes next? What do we have to cling to at the end? And I believe, and Mary Ann believed, that what's come next for her is new life. Right now, it is her being in the presence of God. And in the future, it's the complete annihilation of death itself. And the world coming to be the way that it should be, the way it was meant to be. And what is allowing Mary Ann to experience that newness and that goodness is not her own goodness, but it is the goodness and grace of God toward her, expressed through Jesus. Just what the gospel says is that though each of us are flawed and imperfect, each of us are selfish people who don't deserve an eternity of bliss, God loves us so much, He wants us there with Him, and He made a way for it to happen. He came to earth as Jesus Christ in the flesh, lived a perfect life on our behalf, obeyed in all the ways that we can, and on the cross He